So, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinars. My name is Kunal Surekant Kayast. I am an assistant professor in Aeronautical Engineering Departments, PIT-DS at Paro University. Paro University is the leading provider of innovative graduates. Today, we are presenting a webinar titled as 1 minute. Next transportation mode on MSG, LEV and Hyperloop. Just a titles, housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentations, please type them to my numbers. My WhatsApp number is 9974065420. I will bring them up and during the presentations, and we will also have time for questions at the end. Now, without further wasting the times, we will turn the time over to Mr. Vishal Patil sirs. Our presenters today is with great knowledge and expertise on subjects. So, Vishal Patil sir, please.
Okay. Thank you, Kruna sir, for the introduction part. Hello everyone. I am Vishal Patil, your today's speaker for the webinar on next transportation mode on maglev and Hyperloop. So, as you all know that there are 4 transportation mode available right now in India. The first is railway, then waterway, then third airway, and fourth is through our roadway. Have you ever thought that is there any fifth transportation mode available in India or outside the India? There is a fifth transportation mode available outside the India which is faster than airway, because as you all know the airway is faster than all the 3 mode of transportation available in India, but there is a fifth transportation mode available outside the India which is faster than airway. What is that transportation mode? Let me tell you. That transportation mode is maglev and Hyperloop. The maglev is the older technology and Hyperloop is the new advanced technology. What is the maglev and what is the Hyperloop? I will going to tell in today's webinar. So the introduction we will going to cover in today's webinar are what is mean by maglev, then its technology, then its merits and demerits, benefit, then its advanced version that is the Hyperloop, its types and technology, advantages and disadvantages, benefits and conclusion. So first of all, let me tell you what is mean by maglev. The maglev is just the combination and the acronym of 2 words, that is magnetic and levitation. Magnetic and levitation. So as you all know that magnetic is nothing but a field that is being produced by a electromagnet when a current has been passed through it, and that effect we can use as a transportation in the maglev technology. So the magnetic field is used in the transportation mode. How it is going to use, let me tell you. When an electric current has been passed through electromagnet, it will going to produce the magnetic field, and when a superconductor has been placed in that magnetic field, that superconductor will going to levitate in air like this. The levitate means the levitation part means it's the Latin word which means lightness, means any object will be going to suspend in the air without any type of support rather than a magnetic field. Means this is the object which will going to be levitated in air without any type of support, but rather than this magnetic field. This object is made up of superconductor which has air resistance 0. That means the magnetic field will not going to pass through it, but it will going to lift it in air like this. So it simply means that anything which may levitate, means raise or float by the means of magnetic power, is simply known as the magnetic levitation, and that magnetic levitation is known as the maglev. On that basis, there is a train called the maglev train. For designing any type of transportation mode, the 2 things we have to keep in mind, that is air drag and the friction. If we want a maximum speed in our transportation mode, then air drag part should be 0 and friction part will be 0. But in our roadways, we know that these are the air drags which reduces our speed, and the gravitational force, the friction part, that also reduces our speed. In airways, there is a friction part is totally become 0. That's why the airway of the faster mode. But in maglev, the same thing has been possible on the road, but without friction. So what is that? Let me tell you in proceeding slide. But before that, let me tell you, if we reduce the air drag and the friction, so we will going to get the maximum speed. So what is magnetic levitation? So magnetic levitation is the method by which an object is going to float in the air without any type of support rather than the field. Like earlier I told you, like this. And that magnetic pressure is going to counter at the effect of gravitation. As you all know that this object will going to fly in the air, that means the gravity part G totally become 0. But there is a air drag which is coming in opposite direction to it, that will going to reduce its speed, but the gravity part becomes 0. That means we can achieve the maximum speed more than the air, roadway, railway and the waterway. So that magnetic levitation is the highly advanced technology right now in outside the India, but soon it will going to come in India too. It has the various use. The common point in all the application is that there will be no wear and the friction. The gravity and the friction part will totally become 0, as it going to float in the air with the help of the magnetic field. So till now we are using 4 transportation mode, that is the roadway, waterway, railway and airway. So airway is the fastest mode of transportation among these 4 mode of transportation. But right now in India soon, but outside the India, there is a 5th transportation mode available, that is the maglev train, which has given a tough competition to the airway. As both has the maximum speed, but the maglev train has the more maximum speed than the airway. So the maglev train perform on 3 functions, that is levitation, propulsion and lateral guidance. The levitation means the part that is used to lift it any object in air without any type of support, but rather than a magnetic field. The propulsion means the acceleration, means to accelerate anything like this. This is acceleration part. And the guidance means the lateral guidance means to keep the train at exact center, as it will not going to move on this side or it will not going to move that side, but it will going to keep the train at exactly center of this track. So what are these 3 functions in detail? Let me tell you. The levitation means the passing of superconducting magnets through the levitation coil on the side of a track that induces a current in a coil and create a magnetic field. Means these are the electromagnetic coil and these are the superconductor magnet. The superconductor magnet and these are the levitation coil. When current has been passed through this coil, so it will going to generate a magnetic field surrounding it. So as you all know that N and N repel each other. And N and S attract each other. Attract each other. So when it will going to generate a magnetic field, this N and S will going to repel each other like this. And this N and S will going to attract each other. That means the resultant vector diagram will going to lift it above. So this S and S will going to repel each other and this S and N will going to attract each other. That means the net vector diagram will going to lift it above. That means it will going to levitate in air. So this force pushes the train upward so that it can levitate 10 centimeter above the track. Means that with the help of this field we can lift any object above 10 centimeter from the track. So what is propulsion? The propulsion means the acceleration. Means the acceleration part is in the technology term is known as the propulsion in the maglev train. So when the alternating current is ran through the electromagnetic coil, these are the electromagnetic coil which are on the side walls of the maglev train. So when the current has been passed through it, this means the alternating current has been passed through it, means these are continuously changing, Ns has been changing. So it will going to create a magnetic field over here. So again it will going to work as an attraction and the repulsion. Unlike pole attract each other and like pole will going to repel each other. So how will it going to repel and attract each other in the propulsion part? So this N and S will going to repel each other, and this N and S will going to attract each other. So the net vector diagram will going to put it forward. See again this N and S will going to repel each other. This N and S will going to attract each other. So again the net vector diagram will going to move it forward. But you have in a mind one question. So how does the braking occurs? If we are changing this NS again is continuously moving in a one direction. So if you want to stop any vehicle in this maglev, how it's occur? Means we are going to keep a reverse procedure. Means we are going to supply the reverse direction of our current. Due to that, the net amount of attraction and repulsion will going to become the same, and thus the braking will going to occur. The last is the lattice guidance part. So the lattice guidance is used to keep the vehicle at exactly center of this track. Due to the attraction, the vehicle become more attracted toward this wall, and again after that, sometime due to the repulsion part, it will going to attract to this side. But how to keep vehicle like exactly center? Due to that, there is a comparator which keep the track on how much the current has been passed through this levitation of a coil and how much the attraction has been there between these two sides. If the train is more attracted toward this side, so it will going to supply the opposite current. That means it will going to repel. That means the train will going to come exact the center, and from this side it will be attraction will be done. So hence the train will going to move forward. That means when the one side of a train is near to the side of a guideway, means the train is near to this side, a conducting magnet on the train inducing the repulsive force. From this side it will going to repel, and from the other side of the coil it will going to attract, and thus this keep the train at the center. So this is how the track structure look like. These are the guidance wall in which there is a levitation coil and the propulsion coil has been placed inside. It look like this. On that basis there is a small video, let me show you.
Maglev trains are maintained and propelled on their tracks by
This video is
magnetic fields.
visible, sir?
Maglev is short for magnetic levitation. The principle of magnetic levitation and propulsion was developed as early as 1930, but it was not until decades later that it was implemented in practice. Although Germany was the leading developer of maglev, the project lost government support, and it was therefore China that operated the first maglev line in 2003. The world's first magnetic train connected Shanghai's business district and Pudong Airport. The train covers a distance of 30 kilometers in 7 to 8 minutes, occasionally reaching speeds of 430 kilometers per hour. Due to their operating principle, maglev trains require separate and continuous tracks. One option is to build elevated tracks supported by 5 to 6 meter high concrete pillars. The principle of magnetic levitation originates in the principle of the operation of electric motors. There are several ways to implement this principle in practice. One way is to place magnets on the concrete guideway, that is, at the bottom of the guide rail, as well as at the lower part of the trains, that is, at the skirt. In this synchronous linear motor system, the first acts as a stator, and the latter acts as a rotor. The current lifts the train up and propels it forward. The guide magnets fixed to the skirt, the built-in sensors, and the control computers ensure that trains do not touch the tracks while in motion. Although the principle of magnetic levitation is very simple, it is very costly to
Is my screen is visible, sir?
Yes, visible. Visible.
Okay. So the maglev technology works on two principles, that is the EDS, that is electrodynamic suspension, and second one is electromagnetic suspension, EMS. Only key difference between these two are its levitation part, means how it will going to get a float in the air. On that basis it will going to work. So EDS mostly work on the repulsion part, and this EMS work on the mostly on the attraction part. So EMS part. So EMS means electromagnetic suspension use attractive force. Means it uses the attractive force between the magnet present on train side and underside. Means the on train side and the underside. So the attractive force between all this keeps the train levitate in the air. Means the result of force keep this train above the surface around 1.3 centimeter, that is 0.5 inch above the guideway. It has the guidance magnet on this side, and that is been supplied through the board battery power supply. Means this magnet has been supplied through the battery that is been provided inside the train, and that battery keeps changes its current with the help of the computer to keep it as a variation on the electromagnetic suspension. For the trans-rapid, for the propulsion type, it require a alternating current for changes magnetic field for the propulsion type. So it has the maximum speed around 438 kilometer per hour. So it can cover a 438 kilometer in just 1 hour. And the second technology is electrodynamic suspension. In short, it is known as the EDS system. It is just similar to the EMS, but only the difference between them is how they are levitating each other. So in EMS, it is using the attraction force, but in EDS, it is using the repulsion force to levitate the vehicle above the guideway. So in this, the supercooling magnets has been used under the train, which will going to levitate the train above the 10 centimeter from the guideway. So both the rail and train exert a magnetic field, and thus the resultant magnetic field, that is a repulsive force between the magnet, keeps the train above the surface about 10 centimeter. This magnetic field can be produced by the either by electromagnet or the permanent magnet. So it is like this. So N and N again it will going to repel, and N and S again going to attract each other. The resultant force will going to keep it levitate in the air. S and S again repel, N and S again attraction between them, and the resultant force will going to levitate. So this levitation is around the 10 centimeter. So at a low speed, it's require wheel like a aeroplane. At aeroplane, it's required for the runner purpose. It's require the wheel. So like this, in this EDS technology, it's require a wheel about around 50 kilometer per hour. It's require a wheel. After that, it will going to levitate in the air. For this reason, the train must have wheel or for the landing gears to support the train until it reaches the speed. That is the sustained levitation. So it doesn't require any type of feedback of a control. It is naturally stable. It only keeps at the center of a track, not like rather than the EMS type of technology. But only thing is that it requires the wheel like an aeroplane at the low speed. Its maximum speed is more than the electromagnetic suspension, that is around the 522 kilometer per hour. So the levitation path, as I earlier told you, this repel, this attract, it will going to levitate. This repel, this attract, it will going to levitate. How does the propulsion parts play? Let me tell you. So like this, it is alternating, it's changing, and this again attraction, repulsion keeps it moving forward in direction like this. If you want to break, the reverse current has been supplied and it will going to stop. Like this, it will going to work. So how does the inside of maglev look like? There is a 1 minute small video, the infrastructure of the maglev train. Let me show you.
Its way along a 12-mile test track in Emsland, Germany. Here and in Japan, maglev engineers are developing frictionless rail systems that propel trains at speeds up to 275 miles per hour. Wondering how you levitate one of these 60-ton rail cars? The bottom section of the train wraps around a T-shaped track called the guideway. A set of electromagnets lines both sides of the train's undercarriage. An electromagnetic field generated in the guideway attracts the magnets, lifting the train less than half an inch above the track. A second set of magnets lining the train's sides exerts a lateral force, keeping the vehicle properly aligned. If you're looking for the motor that propels the maglev forward, don't bother looking anywhere on the train. It's laid out flat along the guideway. A system of magnets, like that used on Magic Mountain's Superman roller coaster.
This is, for example, another application of the linear synchronous motor. If you synchronize the changing of the poles with the motion of the train, you can keep the forces going.
Now its advantages and disadvantages. So it has the maximum speed from the 350 mile per hour to the 1200 mile per hour. So according to survey, the aeroplane moves at 800 to 1000 mile per hour, but it is more than the aeroplane speed. As you can see that. That's why it is the fastest mode of transportation available on land, which is more has speed than the airway. So it is earthquake proof. Due to the magnetic field, it gives the magnet and its train guidance at the center of the track. Thus, it is become the earthquake proof. So no energy has been wasted, as we are not supplying any type of energy to it, and it is also the pollution free. Only the limitation is that it requires a huge initial cost, means for laying the track, for the railway purpose, and it also requires the straight path. And maglev require newly infrastructure. We cannot put a maglev train on this our old railway track. Only thing is that the maglev require the use of rare earth element, that is this, which may be quite expensive to recover and they refine. Means for the magnetic purpose, the superconductor is made up of the rare earth element, which is highly expensive and it is not easily to recover and they refine. That's why it has the high initial cost. So the benefit is that there is a no friction available, as the gravity part become totally zero. So it can reach the high speed in less amount of a time. It is safe and efficient way to travel as compared to the airway has been there. The price of ticket per person is also less and public can easily afford it, and the price of ticket per kilometer is less. But only thing is that for the infrastructure and the construction part, the price of ticket per kilometer is more, but for traveling purpose, the price of ticket per kilometer is less. So some country like China and the Germany already has implemented this maglev train and it is running at very high speed. The Shanghai maglev train is the fastest maglev train in the world, that is in the China. So the advanced version of maglev train is Hyperloop. Why it is the advanced version is that because it has the air drag part 0 and the friction part 0. That means the air and the gravity both part become 0. So as earlier till now we are using 4 transportation mode. All are these 4 transportation mode: the roadway, waterway, railway and airway. But the 5th transportation mode is Hyperloop, and that is the fastest mode of transportation. So the creator of Hyperloop is none other than the Elon Musk, who is one of the richest person in the world. So he is also the CEO of PayPal, SpaceX and Tesla Motor. So he is the founder of this Hyperloop, who has said that this Hyperloop will going to be open source for all the people. Whoever wants to join this company, they can join and they can share their idea. So from the construction component point of view, it has the 2 types, that is a capsule and the tube. The tube is a part inside which the train has been moving, means that train is known as the capsule. So what are these 2 parts? Let me tell you in detail. So tube. The tube is nothing but it is made up of the steel. This tube is made up of this steel and it has been supported by V-shaped pillar, like a normal pillar which has been used for the metro train. So this tube is useful for traveling and used for going and coming from a particular destination. Means there are the 2 tubes has been used for, one for going and one for coming back to the original place. So in one tube only one capsule can travel. We cannot travel more than one capsule at a time. So in this tube, the air part, that is the air drag, become totally 0. This tube has the vacuum inside it, has the air drag, that is a part inside the tube. Due to the vacuum part, the vacuum is going to suck all the air present inside it, and thus the air drag part become 0. Like this. This is a tube inside which this capsule is run. This tube, above the surface of at the top of the tube, there is a solar panel which supplies the power to the battery which has been present on the back side of this capsule, and it is been supported by the V shape of pillar, and there is a vacuum tube, means there is a vacuum motor has been there which has been sucking all the air inside the tube and thus making the air drag resistance free, means air resistance totally free. But as a human part, as a human manufacturer, there is a small efficiency, that is 99% of efficiency we get a vacuum, but 1% air has been present, that is we remove with the help of this compressor fan. So hence the minimum amount of air will going to be present inside the tube, and thus it will going to get the maximum speed, although it will also going to levitate in the air with the help of this magnet. How? I will going to tell you, but before that let me show you how does the tube work. So now the second is capsule that run inside that tube. The capsule is one type of vehicle that run inside that tube. So the tube is totally closed. The tube is totally closed, and inside that the air is totally zero, as all the air present inside it has been removed by the vacuum, and inside that this capsule has been run. It's look like this. So the capsule is accelerated via the magnetic linear. The magnetic linear means the motor has the circular magnetic linear, and when we cut this magnetic linear, it will going to become this straight. And there are the magnet has been present over here, 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 and here. So with the help of that magnet, the repulsion force will again going to occur like the maglev train working. The propulsion type, only thing is that the small amount of air that is be present inside this tube will going to be removed with the help of this compressor fan. When the train is moved ahead, that means the air is getting compressed. The small amount of air that is present inside that tube is going to get compressed, and that compressed air will going to take out with the help of the vacuum pump, and that compressed fan is been supplied through the battery, then it's via the compressor motor. So if you want to break this, if you want to deaccelerate the capsule, the compressor fan will going to run in opposite direction. If it is running in the clockwise direction, so it will going to move in anti-clockwise direction. That means it will going to compress the air, and the regenerative type of braking will going to occur. So it has a maximum speed of 1200 km per hour. That is, the average speed is 950 km per hour. It's totally work on the solar panel that is being provided on the roof of that tube. So capsule look like this. Inside is the passenger have to sit. So before that, what is the capsule? There is a small video.
We will learn about the pod structure and levitation theory. Let's start with its structure. Aeroshell. The aeroshell is made of carbon fiber panels, and is used to test the wide variety of interactions within the pod structure. Carbon fiber is lightweight and stronger than steel. Chassis. The chassis is the main part of this pod or capsule, which is made of aluminum and carbon fiber respectively. Levitating chassis. The levitating chassis is made of structural aluminum, and houses the propulsion system, and magnets for levitation and guidance. Its design is similar to a Formula One car. Levitation. One of the key features of the Hyperloop vision is the phenomenon where the gravitational force on an object is counteracted by an upward force. The object is able to levitate without touching anything else, such as track. When the pod moves with respect to the track, the conducting guideway will experience a change in a magnetic field, because of the Halbach array moving with respect to the track. Do you know the Halbach array? It is the arrangement of a magnet. Magnetic field lines runs from north to south, normally symmetric in both side magnet. But, if you rearrange this magnets like this, that creates a stronger field on one side while reducing the field on the other side to near zero. In this footage, you can get a clear idea. According to Faraday's law of induction, a changing magnetic field induces electrical currents, eddy currents within the conducting track. By Lenz's law, The eddy currents in the track always create a magnetic field that opposes the change in the magnetic field, which created the eddy currents in the first place. So, when the pod with Halbach arrays moves over the conducting track, an opposing magnetic field is created by the eddy currents, thus creating a lift force enabling levitation. Suspension is an important part of any moving system. The suspension provides stability, safety, and balance to the system. There are several companies are working on this project, and the design of
So, so now it's working. How does it will going to work? So as you can see that it has a closed loop, means a closed path and the closed surface. This tube is totally closed, and inside it there are the magnet has been present, which is known as the stator part, and there is a rotor has been present inside that capsule. There's a compressor fan, the solar panel which is used to supply its energy to the battery that is present on the backside of this capsule, and that battery will going to supply its energy to the motor. With the help of this motor, this compressed fan will going to work. So with the help of the pillar, the tube is supported. So the pressure from the tube is removed with the help of the vacuum tube. Means the air pressure that is been present inside that tube is been removed with the help of the vacuum motor that is been present inside that vacuum tube. And then with the help of the magnet present inside the tube and the capsule, it will going to help the capsule for the levitation and the propulsion part. As I earlier told you, this N and N are going to repel each other, and again the vector sum of this will going to move it forward. So thus it will going to levitate the capsule using the magnet, and also it will going to propel it with the help of that magnet. As you can see that the solar panel is used in order to save the energy for supplying the compressor fan. This compressor fan is used in order to remove all the small amount of the air that is been present, which is not being sucked by the vacuum, and that air has been sucked with the help of this compressor fan, which will going to throw all the air inside it on the back side, and again that air has been removed through the vacuum tube present over here. So it's totally run on the solar panel. Means solar panel has been there. The total energy supplied to the capsule is via the solar panel. Means compressor run through the battery which get the power from the solar panel. Again there is a battery over here. Means again it will going to propel each other in the forward direction. The compressor will going to try to maintain the normal pressure inside the capsule. Means the air pressure inside it will going to be zero. Not practically zero, but ideally it will going to be zero inside it. If you want to stop this, the compressor fan will going to rotate in the opposite direction, and this the supply given to this magnet and rotor is also in the negative direction, and thus the regenerative braking has been occurred. Means there will be a magnetic locking type occur. Thus the N and S will going to attract each other, and thus it will going to attract it and stuck it to each other, and that will lock, and due to that it will going to be stopped. The only thing is that at a one time only one capsule can run inside this tube. If you want to send the second capsule inside the same tube in which the first capsule is running, we cannot do that because we have to change this polarity according to this capsule. If we change this polarity according to first capsule, then second capsule is going to lock over the backside over each other. That is a magnetic locking type. If we don't want that, that's why we are requiring only one capsule at the one time. That is the reason why the capsule means the Hyperloop is the fastest mode of transportation among all the mode of transportation available. So it is going to come in India very soon. the Pune and Mumbai Hyperloop project that is being done by the Virgin. So India is right now on the fourth position on the transportation network. As you all know that it is on the seventh as by the area and the fourth on the position on the transportation network. So India has very wide range of the transportation network in the world. So if we implement or introduce such modern mode, it will definitely going to be beneficial as it will going to save our time. So as it is the fastest and the latest mode of transportation, which will going to benefit the public. So right now, according to government, the four routes that is be selected in India from Bengaluru to Tiruvananthapuram, which will going to cover the 736 kilometer in just 41 minutes. Then Delhi to Mumbai, that is a 1416 kilometer in just 55 minutes. Then Mumbai to Chennai, that is 1337 kilometer in just 50 minutes. And then Bengaluru to Chennai, that is 334 kilometer in just 20 minutes. As you can see that the kilometer are more and the time is less. Thus it can going to save our time very much. So that's why it is the one of the modern mode of the transportation available. Not right now in India, but soon it will going to be available. So before that, how it's going to work, there is a small video.
Fifth mode of the transportation system. Currently, there are several companies testing the prototype. The idea is to reduce the pressure in the tube, and then place a sort of capsule or pod within the system. The low-pressure tube has few benefits. 1. Air resistance is removed. 2. The pressure gradient can be used to propel the pod at great speeds. Hyperloop is a new technology, every day getting better. As per Hyperloop structure and mechanism, it has some important parts. Tube. It is one of the main components of the Hyperloop system. Tubes are cylindrical metal pieces welded side by side, up and down, which allow the capsule to travel both the sides. These tubes are supported with an open pillar similar to the metro pillar you must have seen. The minimum distance between each pillar must be 30 meters for best support. The outer part of the tube will be covered with solar panels for renewable energy generation and provides power to the whole system, resulting in minimal cost of operation. Capsule. It is the part which travels from one part to another. The capsule can carry up to 28 passengers, an equivalent cargo at very high speed throughout the tube. Each capsule is accelerated with the help of a mechanism called the magnetic linear accelerator. Each accelerator consists of a similar mechanism of motor, in which the rotor is fixed at the bottom of the capsule, and stator is fixed on the wall of the tube. Hence, the combination of these stator and rotor gives the momentum to the capsule for traveling at high speed. On the underside of each pod is a flat rectangular array of magnetic bars called a Halbach array. It is named after its inventor, Klaus Halbach, a retired Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory physicist. Magnetic field lines runs from north to south, normally symmetric in both side magnet. But, if you rearrange this magnets like this, that creates a stronger field on one side while reducing the field on the other side to near zero. If you want to learn more about Halbach array and how does it work, please check out our next video. Thank you.
Sorry, your voice is not audible.
Now it is audible?
Now is audible.
Okay. Now its advantages and disadvantages. So it is the fastest ground-based transportation technology, which is the fastest mode of transportation amongst all the five transportation mode available. As you all know that airway is the fastest mode of transportation available, but it is more faster. Hyperloop is more faster than the airway, as it will going to save the fuel and diesel and petrol, as the demand of the petrol and the diesel value, the price value is very much high, so we can reduce that with the help of this hyperloop. And there will be no noise pollution, and it will be environmentally friendly, as there will be no pollution will be going to created, and it will be going to be one of the cheapest mode of transportation once it is implemented or the infrastructure has been placed and organized. It will going to consume very little energy that is been required to supply an alternating current to the magnet, but with the help of the solar energy we can sustain it, and we can give the totally 100% environmental friendly to our nature. So disadvantage is that it requires a high initial investment. So it is not in million, but it is in a billion type is required. Means $100 million project has been there in the hyperloop from the Los Angeles to San Francisco. It requires the fully closed tube, and the more space is required. Means it requires the straight path. If any tree has been coming inside it, we have to cut that tree. So it's required totally the straight path in order to have the maximum speed. It will want to travel from one point to another point, does not stop in between. If you want to stop, so there must be any problem is going to occur, but we also solve that problem by using the different types of tube for going and coming, back and fro, for back and fro type of purpose. So we can run only one capsule at a one time, and it's also requires straight path. Only the disadvantages that occur and that keeps the hyperloop not as the famous transportation mode is that only one capsule can travel at a one time in a tube, and that capsule carry around 30 to 40 people. Only that is a difference why hyperloop is not getting famous, but soon that problem also going to be solved as engineers are working on it. So what are the benefits of this hyperloop? So it will greatly reduce the travel time and the cost. Right now the key important factor for any business person is that is the travel time and the cost. The people are ready to give the more money, but in order to save the time, and that can be done with the help of this hyperloop. And this mode will also going to available for the general public, as they can also travel in such a hyperloop mode of transportation. With the positive approach, the Indian government has also agreed that and show the interest in cooperating with the hyperloop team for the speedy development of the infrastructure, so that common man can benefit and greatly reduce the overall load present on the preferred mode of transportation. As Indian government has shown the positive approach towards the hyperloop project, as we all know that the people are right now suffering from very much due to the COVID of a person. With the help of this hyperloop, we can travel from one place to another place within the fraction of a minute. Not the fraction of a minute, within the 10 to 20 minutes. It will definitely going to save our time. Last, the conclusion, as of 2021, there is a much need of the such implementation of the hyperloop project in India, as it will going to solve many ongoing problems such as overpopulated train garages. The people are sitting on the top of the train, risking their life. So that thing will definitely going to be reduced with the help of this hyperloop project. So first, I will going to end my webinar. If you have any type of question, you can ask me.
Thank you very much, sir. There is a few questions. Some I will ask you.
Okay.
Which is faster, maglev or bullet train?
maglev train is faster than bullet train. As you all know that the bullet train runs on the railway track and the maglev train runs above the railway track, means the gravity part in the maglev is totally zero and there is a gravity part inside the bullet train, and that gravity reduces the speed of the bullet train compared to the maglev train, and thus the maglev train is faster, and the Shanghai maglev train is the faster than all the train available on the earth.
Okay. So my second the student question is why our loop is costly than railway in constructions.
Okay, it is costly because the normal railway construction means for the per kilometer track, so there is a cost around $1 to $2 million for placing the track. For there is a $2 million, but for placing the hyperloop or the maglev project, it's required the infrastructure, it's required the tube, it's required the straight path, it's required the straight lane. All this require the huge initial investment, and that investment is around for the per kilometer is $20 million. Here in the normal train, that is a $2 million for the per kilometer track, and here it's become the $20 million, means it's become 10 times to it. But although to it is also giving the maximum speed and you're going to save our time.
Okay, my last question is Hyperloop is coming into India?
Yes, Elon Musk has tweeted that if it is successfully run in United States of America, it is right now running, and there is a trial has been going up from the Los Angeles to San Francisco. It will going to cover its kilometer in just the 20 minutes, and soon it will also going to come in India with the help of the Maharashtra government has proposed that from Mumbai to Pune, it will going to cover the distance in just 20 minutes. If the Hyperloop comes to India, but it's required the huge initial investment as earlier told you. But soon it will going to come as the Pune and the Mumbai are the billionaire city of the India.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable times. And thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, sir.